Welcome to Emotional Morning, the place where untold stories meet raw emotions. Tonight, we dive into one of the most shocking and heartbreaking chapters in the life of TLC's 90-Day Fiance. This isn't just gossip or drama. What if the real reason Andrei and Elizabeth disappeared from the show has nothing to do with what you saw on screen? What if the official story was just a carefully crafted lie? A corporate smokescreen hiding a war that had been going on behind the scenes for years. The truth wasn't a simple contract issue, creative differences, or mutual choice. Through insider reports, hidden production notes, and a reconstructed timeline, we uncovered something disturbing. This was a calculated move. The network erased two stars who had become too powerful, unpredictable, and difficult to control. What you're about to hear involves secret recordings, hostile workplace allegations, and a physical confrontation so severe that it forced the network's hand. This wasn't chaos on camera. This was chaos that could have threatened the entire reality TV machine. One couple pushed a billion-dollar franchise to the edge, and the network responded by wiping them from existence. At Viva Flix, we bring sealed documents to light, reveal buried truths, and tell stories the network never wanted exposed. But before we dive in, you need to be part of our circle. Hit subscribe, ring the notification bell, and press like because our sources leak new evidence every day. To understand the scale of what happened to Andrei and Elizabeth, we first look at a case study so chilling that our sources believe the network studied it internally. It begins with a woman named Maya and a mysterious delivery to her door. It wasn't a text or email. It was an envelope with no stamp, no return address, and a black smear across the front, a deliberate, unsettling signal. Inside, her husband Adrian is shown in a shadowy alley negotiating money or paperwork, but another figure is blurred out. This was done on purpose, to reveal the subject while hiding the observer. The accompanying caption read, "You don't know who he really is." A single moment of doubt shattered Maya's sense of security. Then the danger became real. Her door was knocked on, 3 slow, hard knocks, a personal signal turned weapon. A stranger demanded a conversation. They had turned her own sense of safety into fear. Seconds later, a second photo slid under her door, showing her standing in her apartment just moments after the first photo. Someone was monitoring her constantly. Under the couch, they found a tiny camera the size of a matchbox, confirming the intrusion. Text started coming in, "Stop lying," and "I know everything." The observer had total control and knew every move. Eventually, Maya and Adrian confronted the person responsible. The network had captured everything and wanted permanent control. They were given an ultimatum: reveal the chain and risk disaster, or retreat and live under constant threat. They chose to expose the truth, embracing chaos over forced silence. This same pattern mirrors what happened to Andrei and Elizabeth. Unlike Maya and Adrian, Andrei and Elizabeth were loud and chaotic, which initially helped their brand. But according to insiders, their downfall wasn't fights or disturbances, it was silence. The fistfights didn't end them. The emotional exhaustion and inner disconnection did. Andrei, a controlling and sometimes violent husband on camera, was struggling off camera. He juggled 5 roles: reality star, provider, family man, controlling spouse, and American success story. Physically and mentally exhausted. He described feeling like a ghost trapped in his own body. Reality TV fatigue wasn't the problem. It was deep emotional drain. There wasn't a dramatic confrontation. During a discussion about a family vacation, Andrei quietly told Elizabeth, "I'm not sure I can keep doing this." No anger, no theatrics, just utter despondency. Silence was more devastating than any fight. Elizabeth coped by fading into quiet, pretending, and surviving in her own way. Andrei and Elizabeth weren't destroyed by on-screen fights. They were destroyed by the quiet, by emotional exhaustion, and by the relentless demands of reality TV. Our exclusive theory, based on talks with people close to Andrei and Elizabeth, suggests this wasn't just about coping. It was a strategic shift. Elizabeth increased her online presence, posting even more picture-perfect family moments. Sources say she noticed the warning signs that TLC could drop them, so she was building her own off-network brand and safety net. Instagram became her only remaining narrative, something she could control. Behind the scenes, however, things were falling apart. One production leak describes the laundry room disaster. A crew member saw Elizabeth crying on the laundry room floor, pressed against the door where she thought no one could hear her. A spotless home hit a complete emotional breakdown. It's a sad metaphor for life on reality TV. Her suffering didn't stay hidden. Off camera, she acted strangely, and producers noticed her forced smiles. In a private moment, Andrei asked for a divorce, and Elizabeth admitted the truth in a fleeting moment of weakness. That moment instantly became newsworthy, recorded in production reports. Fans and online followers noticed things like missing anniversary posts or her new tone on social media. Speculation exploded on Reddit. Their attempt at private silence became, paradoxically, the loudest story imaginable. On the business side, the network faced a dilemma. Andrei and Elizabeth drew viewers, but insiders say the couple had crossed a line. They were no longer just useful, they had become a burden. A leaked memo describes the network's response as surgical silence. The goal wasn't to fire them publicly, it was to remove them quietly. Popularity and the split didn't matter, risk management did. Their behavior had paralyzed production. Crew members complained about the unsafe environment and even started secretly recording situations on personal phones to protect themselves legally. The final breaking point wasn't the divorce or drama, it was a physical incident. A request to reshoot a scene triggered Andrei's explosive outburst. He shoved a camera and an equipment handler. On-screen fights make money, but endangering crew and risking lawsuits crosses a line. The network could not ignore it. Leaked emails and texts show Andrei believed the show was his, not the other way around. He criticized editing, demanded expensive reshoots, and wanted scenes to depict him as the hero. Elizabeth supported him. Producers describe her control over certain scenes, especially family moments, as extreme censorship. Together, they were challenging the foundation of the show itself. This was a huge red flag for the network, which wants programming to appear authentic. The network had a choice: continue working with a legally risky couple or cut ties. They chose the latter. There was no press release, no announcement, they simply disappeared. Silence prevented legal questions. Without public statements, the network could claim the contracts expired. Andrei and Elizabeth went from franchise stars to contract poison, effectively banning them from future projects. The incident also forced the network to change policies. The post-Andrei contract reset was implemented immediately. Social media rules became stricter, preventing talent from creating off-network narratives. Harsh penalties were enforced for interfering with crew or the editorial process, with clearly defined on-set conduct rules. Clause 14.b, called the Patas Clause by crew, allows the network to terminate contracts immediately and reclaim payments if a talent tries to interfere with editing. Andrei and Elizabeth's behavior set a precedent worth millions, forcing the network to protect itself from future risks. Meanwhile, Chuck Podest, the calm center of the family, bore the greatest emotional cost. Crew members recall him stepping in whenever the family threatened to lose control. He begged the camera crew to stop when situations became too toxic, trying to protect the family's dignity. At the same time, Chuck was battling his own physical struggles. He had survived cancer 5 years prior, and his body was already fragile. During a difficult 8-hour hernia surgery, complications arose, leading to a collapse of his stomach wall. Caring for the family while his own health deteriorated consumed all his energy. Despite his family's ongoing drama, Chuck focused on building stability and creating memories. In his last year on the show, he shifted away from filming typical reality TV drama. He quietly recorded family moments, posed for photos with his grandchildren, and made memories that would last a lifetime. Even as his children remained caught in their own conflicts, he prioritized love, connection, and lasting moments over chaos. Even as Chuck focused on preserving family stability, the network's decision to erase Andrei and Elizabeth sent ripples through everyone involved. Crew members, producers, and even fellow cast members were stunned at the sudden silence. One day, they were stars at the center of the franchise. The next, they were gone, removed without explanation. For many, it felt like the universe had blinked, erasing a portion of reality entirely. Behind closed doors, insiders say morale on set took a hit. Producers who had been close to the couple worried that the disappearance might create chaos for future filming schedules. Editors had to adjust storylines abruptly, and social media teams were scrambling to manage the fallout. The quiet removal wasn't just about Andrei and Elizabeth. It was a warning to everyone. The message was clear. Step out of line, challenge the system, and you could vanish. Elizabeth's off-network strategy continued quietly. While Andrei's outburst made headlines internally, Elizabeth worked to control the narrative through Instagram and other platforms. Every staged family reunion, every carefully edited post became a lifeline. It allowed her to maintain a voice when the network had removed their public platform. Yet, even with the growing online presence, the private suffering didn't stop. According to leaks, Elizabeth often broke down alone in spaces she thought were private, far from the cameras. Her emotional survival required constant effort, balancing public performance with private despair. Meanwhile, Andrei's reputation within the production team deteriorated further. Though he had been the face of chaotic, dramatic energy on camera, the crew saw a different side. Exhaustion, frustration, and moments of complete blankness. They described him as someone trapped under the pressure of multiple roles, trying to perform as star, husband, father, and reality TV provider simultaneously. Each role drained him, and over time, his weariness became a liability for the network. The infamous fistfight moments that fans remember didn't break him on their own. Off camera, the constant stress and emotional detachment were far more destructive. Andrei quietly admitted to producers that he felt like a ghost in his own life, unable to keep up with the demands of being a reality star and a family man at the same time. The resignation he expressed in private conversations, far from the dramatic moments shown on TV, became the true turning point. The network's decision to implement surgical silence was informed by these private incidents, not the drama visible to viewers. They weren't just reacting to physical fights or disagreements. They were reacting to risk. Legal risk, production risk, and the risk of losing control over the show's story. Every email, every text, and every attempted influence on editing by Andrei and Elizabeth built toward one conclusion. They had to be removed quietly before a single public incident could escalate into a lawsuit. Inside the production, the couple's influence had already started to feel like a liability. According to crew members, secret recordings and personal phones became a common tool to document moments that could be legally significant. Everyone knew the stakes were high. Every heated interaction, every edit request, every uncooperative moment added layers of risk. Eventually, a single incident, a shove against a camera and an equipment handler, became the final straw. It was no longer about audience ratings or show drama. It was about worker safety and legal responsibility. Elizabeth, despite her calm social media persona, was complicit in Andrei's push for control. Leaked texts and conversations show she frequently supported his demands for scene edits or reshoots, especially when they involved her family. Producers described this as a form of censorship that undermined the show's foundation. Both Andrei and Elizabeth had crossed the line from talent into potential legal and logistical hazards. The network's decision was not only about removing them, but also about sending a message to future talent. Control the narrative at your own risk. After the removal, the network introduced strict new policies. The so-called post-Andrei contract reset imposed strict rules on social media, editing influence, and on-set conduct. Clause 14.b, also called the Patas Clause, allowed immediate contract termination and recovery of payments if a cast member interfered with production or editing. These policies fundamentally changed how the network managed talent, ensuring no future couple could disrupt operations in the same way. Andrei and Elizabeth's departure became a cautionary tale, one that reshaped the business practices of an entire franchise. Meanwhile, Chuck Poda's story illustrates the personal cost of reality TV chaos. While dealing with the family's instability, he faced serious health challenges. His previous battle with cancer had left him vulnerable, and the stress of managing both the family and production demands weakened him physically. During an 8-hour hernia surgery, complications arose, leading to the collapse of his stomach wall. Crew members describe him as emotionally and physically drained, trying to hold together a family caught in constant conflict. Chuck's quiet dedication highlights a hidden layer of the story. Behind the public drama, someone had to absorb the emotional fallout, keep the family together, and protect the dignity of the children. While the cameras focused on chaos and conflict, Chuck worked behind the scenes to create stability. His last year on the show was not about filming reality TV drama. It was about creating memories, maintaining family connections, and recording moments that would outlast the cameras. In this context, Andrei and Elizabeth's story becomes more than a reality TV scandal. It's a study in control, risk, and survival. The network's decision to remove them quietly reflects the complexities of producing a billion-dollar franchise where talent, production, and legal considerations collide. Their public persona, loud, chaotic, and dramatic, was only a part of the truth. Behind the scenes, exhaustion, emotional detachment, and private struggles were the real forces shaping their fate. Even after their disappearance, the impact of Andrei and Elizabeth's presence remains. Their actions prompted policy changes, redefined expectations for future stars, and created a blueprint for how networks manage difficult talent. The silent legacy of their removal is embedded in contracts, crew protocols, and production strategies. Every clause, every rule, every preventive measure is a reminder of the risk they represented and the lessons learned from their time on the show. Ultimately, the story of Andrei and Elizabeth is a cautionary tale about power, control, and the unseen costs of reality television. It's not just about fights, divorces, or dramatic moments on camera. It's about the private struggles, the hidden emotional labor, and the network's calculated strategy to remove risk quietly. It's about the delicate balance between public persona and private reality, and the consequences when that balance is disrupted. Even in silence, their story continues to influence the world they left behind. The network's new policies, the crew's adjustments, and the unspoken warnings for future talent all reflect the enduring legacy of two stars who were too loud, too powerful, and too complex to control. Behind the Instagram posts, behind the camera fights, behind the scripted family drama lies a deeper truth. Reality TV is a business, and when the stakes are high, no one is untouchable.